Robert Cedeno, the host of the Process to Purpose podcast. Again, we're here to help inspire, motivate, and encourage others to find their purpose through the process of spirituality, health, and wealth, using godly principles and values to break through to the life that God has called us to live. Again, go subscribe to us and give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and any other platform where you can find podcasts.
I'm super excited for this next episode. I have my buddy here, David Gomez.
How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, man. Thank you for allowing me to come here to your beautiful office here in Montebello. It's really nice, man. It looks like you guys just redid the place not too long ago.
Yeah. I think since the last time you were here, we've changed a few things. So
you guys expanded a little bit too, right?
We added some more on the left side.
Great. So I'm gonna just say real quick how I know you. So I met David actually on Facebook, right?
Yep.
Reached out to me on Facebook. Must have been maybe 2.5, almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So it's been some time, man. We connected. Right. We stayed in touch, and I've been telling David that he needs to come on this podcast for maybe the last year or so.
I know. I flaked once.
No, it's been about a year. I know you're busy. I know it's tough to get on here, but I'm glad we made time for it because we're really going to be helping some people today, man. I really believe that. And today we're going to be talking about life and death. Which is
big topic.
Yeah, huge, right? And we know everything that's going on right now, and we'll get a little bit more into that. But first, where can people find you?
Instagram, that's my main platform. First Entrepreneur, that's the tag. So 1ST Entrepreneur.
Okay. Entrepreneur. Okay, so Instagram's the best place to find you.
Best place.
And then just really quick, a quick overview of what you do.
Yeah, so I work with PHP Agency. I'm one of the brokers helping run the Montebello office. Pretty much, we do debt settlement, life insurance, and we do retirement and annuities. So that's in a nutshell. That's what I'm trying to sum it up in 3 words, but that's what we do.
Nice, man. Yeah. No, that's a lot of important stuff, and I want to get into that a little bit later. I know there's a lot going on with Kobe. I know we're watching the game right behind you. And just the sadness of his death and just the loss. I was telling you earlier that when I found out he died, and it took a while to hit me.
Yeah.
And I felt man, we just lost a family member.
Yeah.
Right. You're a big Kobe fan, right?
Huge.
You guys had an event about, you said 6 months ago.
6 months ago, I believe that was the last major interview that he did.
Really?
The interview came out on First Take. The controversy with him and Shaquille O'Neal. So it was fun to see how big the interview made it. But I believe that was the last big one he did.
Hey, Patrick B. David really set that one up nice, right?
Yeah, it was a good question.
Great question. Great interviewer.
Yeah.
He has valuetainment, and so I know he's been a huge mentor to you, right?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, and this question's kind of out of the blue, but what was your biggest takeaway from that interview with Kobe?
Mentality, because he talks about the Mamba mentality, but in hearing him, he not only applies that on the basketball court, but also off the court, as a father, as a dad. So just seeing the mentality of wanting to be the best. One of my mentors says, be the MVP in every category, right? In your faith, in your finances, as a husband, as a father. So MVP in every category.
That's really good, man, because that's one thing we focus on this podcast actually is spirituality, health, and wealth, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you could be an MVP at all those, I call those 3 pillars of life, right? You're winning, man.
Absolutely.
You're winning because and I know sometimes in life when you're going through it, you can be really good at, you could be the MVP at spirituality, and then your finances and your health can be hurting, right? Same thing, you're killing it in business.
Yep.
But your health is lacking, right?
Yeah.
So being able to put all those together is super important, man.
100%.
So going back to the interview, you said mentality, biggest thing you took away.
And the crazy thing is, he started the mentality started when he was a kid. I remember the interview he was, and you guys should check it out. It's a good interview, but
you can find it on YouTube, right?
Yeah. From the age of 13, he had what I think is called a hit list. So at age 13, he started to identify. He's ranked 99th. Then he moves up to 50. Then he moves up to 25. Then he moves up to number 1. So from age 13, he already knew what he wanted to become.
That's crazy, right? To be zoned in, and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm gonna go."
Yep.
That's crazy, man. So, I know this might be a crazy question, but how did Kobe's death affect you, man?
You know what? It's crazy because obviously I don't know the guy. I went to one of his interviews with Jimmy Kimmel, and I went to this last interview here with our agency. So I don't know him, but I know him, if that makes sense, right? No lie. Anytime I wanted to like figure out how to think like a champion, all right? You know, I don't know if you do what I do, but I always go on YouTube, listen to inspirational speakers. Eric Thomas is a huge one. T.G. Jakes is a huge one.
Yeah.
But Kobe would always be. I would always go and watch his cut up motivational talks, just so I could think like him. And it's so interesting. I've listened to almost everything on there. I go type in Kobe, put most popular, and I listen to like all of them. And this is before all this happened.
Got it.
But so because of all that, I feel like I knew him.
Yeah, definitely.
So the effect was more so shock, like how could this happen? I feel heavily for his wife. I'm a married guy. I feel heavily for his daughter. You know, we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I got a kid. I can't even imagine the conversations you have in that moment. What you say to your kid, it's gonna be okay, or what you say just what do you say in that moment, right?
Hold on.
And then on the mom side, what do you say? How do you explain it, right? And everybody is gonna get through it because you kind of have to.
Yeah.
But it never leaves you. You never forget about it.
Yeah, man. And I know Kobe had a big part of our childhood growing up, early, late 90s, early 2000s. That's like the time. That was our prime time right there. We're growing up, man, and we seen this guy doing amazing things in life.
Yeah.
Doing amazing things on the basketball court, and just what it seemed like he was just getting going in his life, right? 41 years old, super young.
Yeah.
And there was a lot ahead, right? So and then something that I want to bring up is like, hey, we always ask ourselves why, right? Mm-hmm. It could be anybody. It could be anyone in our family. Like, hey, why did this happen to Kobe? Or why did this happen to my grandpa? Why did this happen to so-and-so?
Yeah.
But I was listening to something today, and it really hit me well, man. And I was like, hey, instead of asking why, how about we start saying what? What do we do next? Right?
Very good. Very good, yeah.
What do we do next? What is our next step? So after this whole Kobe thing, what is your next step?
You know what? I posted this on my Instagram recently. It's the best way to honor somebody, I believe, is to carry out the message they left behind.
That's so good.
So earlier last year, and actually this is the first time I really talked about it, but my brother-in-law passed away.
Okay.
Due to cancer.
Sorry.
But the craziest thing about it is miss him like crazy. Like I don't talk about it a lot because I miss him a ton.
Yeah.
But in line with what you're saying about Kobe, I think the best way for me to honor my brother-in-law is to carry on the message that he left, and it was so crazy how he was battling cancer. So throughout that process, it was so crazy to see how he still honored God, praised God, believed in God.
That's so awesome.
And he was believing for healing. We all were. But he was also saying, but if God has other plans, I love him. He's my, and it was such an interesting thing because you hear people say they love God, they believe in God when everything's great. But to see, this is the first person I've ever seen when you're facing death, when you're facing the worst thing that could possibly happen, you're still saying I love God. You're still saying I believe in God. You're still mentoring my brothers to believe in God because there's that chance you may not be here. And like for me to experience that and see that, the best thing I could do is honor him by carrying out the message. And there's when I'm struggling in other areas, I'm like this my brother-in-law was fighting death and he still praised God.
Yep.
How would I not praise God when I'm struggling over a small problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's I think how you honor going to the Kobe thing. Okay, so the message, forgive me, not the thing, Kobe's passing. The message, I think he talked about in one of his interviews. his phrasing, dancing beautifully in the box you've been placed in, right?
That's really good.
So being the best version of yourself in whatever situation you're doing. So for me, it's business. For me, it's being a father, a dad, and in church, I want to be the best in that.
Good, man. Well, I'm glad you took it to your brother-in-law, man, because I know that's not easy to share.
Yeah.
And I thank you for sharing that, and being a little bit vulnerable with the audience, because I know it's tough, because and something I want to share, when I had seen my grandpa, right? Again, I didn't have the best relationship with my grandpa. He came into our life when I was about maybe 16, 17 years old. He never really pursued a relationship, so we didn't really have a relationship, right? But I was there maybe a couple of hours before he passed. We knew he, same thing, he had cancer. We knew, he had maybe a couple of weeks to go, they said, if that, and he ended up passing actually that same day when he came home from the hospital. But I won't ever forget, man. I remember looking into his eyes, and he couldn't speak anymore because he was in so much pain, but he can see you, right? So I always wondered, like, when you're in that position, right, and you're in your deathbed, right, you're there, right, and like, what goes through your mind? And when I'm there one day, I know death is coming no matter what,
right?
So when I get there, and if I'm fortunate enough to pass away in my bed, right, at an older age, because we don't know what can happen, we don't know what God has planned for us, but I don't want to have any regret, man.
Right.
I want to be able to sit there and say, hey, you know what, I'm at peace, I'm ready to go, I'm good. Anything you would like to accomplish before you hit that point of life, man?
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully it's many, many, many years from now. Right. But I think. So go ahead.
Maybe I can. How do you want to be remembered? Maybe that's probably a better question.
Yeah, because absolutely, the way you asked it the first way, I think about that. The way you asked it the second way, I think about that, right? And I think for me, I know obviously one day we're gonna pass, right? Obviously, we're spiritually eternal, but not physically eternal, right?
Yeah.
So, but for me, I think that one of the biggest things I've been learning right now is earning respect. So it's kind of be a twist to your question. We just left an event again with our CEO Patrick, and he talked about earning respect. So how do I want to be known and remembered? Therefore, is this guy had my respect? But here's how I break it down. There's different areas, different areas in your life. I am a husband.
Yep.
Well, first I'm a Christian. I'm a son of God. Second, I'm a husband.
Yep.
Third, I'm a father. Fourth, I'm a businessman. Right. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm a friend. I'm a giver, servant of God. Right. So there's all these different arenas.
Yep.
And just because I've earned respect in one arena doesn't mean I've earned respect in the other. For example, I may be a great husband, but that doesn't make me a great father.
Yep.
I may be a great father, but that doesn't make me a great businessman. I may be a great businessman, but that doesn't make me a great giver.
Got it.
Right? So going back to MVP in all categories, the reason I respect, and I'm pointing back because he's back there, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, right? The reason why I respect Kobe so much is because he had that mentality where he wanted to be the MVP when he was on the court, MVP on the court.
Definitely.
And obviously post basketball, you see everything was about his girls, coaching his girls, books to help other kids like his girls, right? So it's very, very relatable, him wanting to win in every area. Yeah,
man, that's really good, because that's one thing that I want similar is, hey, I kind of, and this is not for me, but I want people to say, like, man, this guy really served God, right? Yeah. And I want a lot of people at my funeral. I want to say, hey, man, God really worked in his life, so he affected my life, right? He did something in me and helped me, or God did something in him to help other people, and that's how I want to be remembered, right? I don't want to be up there. It's like, oh, he was a nice guy, he was a good guy. He played it safe, I want to be like, hey, man, this guy took some risk. He relied on God. He had the strength. He had the courage from God, and he just went for it, right? Yeah. So thank you, man. Thank you for sharing that stuff. I know this is a really tough topic, man.
I talk about it a lot, though. I know where we're going. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So this is really tough. And before we go into that, maybe you can just share with people your background. And we probably should have started with this, but I was like, man, I just kept seeing Kobe, so I just wanted to jump into it.
Yeah.
But what was your transition like? You said that you used to work in you're a social worker.
Yeah.
So maybe that transition from being that, doing that and being a pastor to going straight, into business and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I was a social worker. You're familiar with the APU, Azusa Pacific?
Yep.
So I got my degree there. I'll go back a little bit so you could kind of see why I transitioned out. So long story short, grew up in a very low income household. Mom got married at 17. My dad was younger as well. I think they're 6 years apart. My mom got married, very young. They had 5 kids. Marriage didn't work out. Parents got divorced. So most of my upbringing, I was raised by a single mom. She worked, low income job. She was a secretary at a school district. Worked at Jack in the Box.
Sorry to interrupt. You got married at 17?
Forgive me, my mom.
Gotcha.
Forgive me. Man, yeah, no, I'm going back. Just so you can see the cycle.
Gotcha.
No, 17, bro. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
That's brave.
27. 10 years later, I got married at 27.
Got it.
But so mom got married young, had kids young. Marriage didn't work out. So most of from 12 through several years, raised by a single mom in a low income household.
Got it.
Because of that, my number one goal was to pick a career where I could take care of mom and then take care of my future wife, future kids. So I've always thought about my future family back then. I asked different people for advice, and everybody told me, David, as long as you go to college, get good grades, you'll get a good job. I'm sure you've heard that.
Typical, right?
So I do it. Graduated top of my class in high school.
Really?
I wasn't valedictorian, but I was up there, so I was okay.
Like top 3%, but that's about it.
Yeah, I've always been competitive. That's why I like Kobe. But
good.
So from high school, I went to Azusa Pacific. I thought it was Christian University. I want to go there, so I got my bachelor's, and then I got my master's in social work. So by 22, I graduated with my master's, went into corporate.
Man.
It sounds great, but and I'm proud of it, but it's not the end all be all.
Yeah, definitely.
As I found out later, but first job I worked at a homeless shelter with youth, so very rewarding. Second job, foster care social worker, rewarding. Third, I was a youth pastor, and then while I was doing that, I actually worked also at Queen of the Valley Hospital in the ER.
Got it.
I was an ER social worker.
So you did a youth pastoring full time?
It was part-time. Yeah. So I did full-time social work, part-time youth pastoring. I was also one of the worship leaders. So very, very involved. God is my foundation. I would be nowhere near where I am today without God.
Great.
But so I was going through all that. I was 25, and this is the joke I always say. I was going through what I called my quarter life crisis. I say I'm 25 and halfway to 50. I'm like, I'm always right.
What is going on?
What's going on, right? So at that time, my biggest, I'm making it long, I'll make it short, but
no, you're good, bro.
My biggest prayer at that time was a wife. So God, give me a wife, give me a wife.
At 25.
At 25.
Got it.
Why? Because I didn't have that growing up. The mom and dad all in the same household. So like I wanted that. I said I'm gonna create it, right?
Man, that's awesome.
But I remember at APU we would have prayer nights, and people were out there praying for revival, and we're all there saying, God, give me more, Holy Spirit, come. I'm like, God, just give me a wife. That's like all I wanted. So people are praying for revival.
You wanted some motivation, man.
I needed some motivation, man. But so I'm 25, right? Haven't found her yet, and I said in the meantime I'm gonna buy a house. That way I look more attractive, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
do that.
You got your stuff together.
I got myself together,
yeah, right?
So I call my aunt. She works with Central 21.
Nice.
Right? And I say, hey, Tia Terry, shout out to you. I wanna get a house. So we start looking in Covina because I worked in that area, and I realized I have a master's. I'm making triple, quadruple what my mom made growing up. I think, man, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
I tried to buy a house, and all I could get was this 2-bedroom condo, and I was like, this is not why I went to college. This is not why I went to get the master's, right?
Yeah.
and you know this because you're in real estate, right?
Yeah.
So my credit was good. I had it down. Just the income to student loan debt ratio wasn't that great.
Yep. I get people.
You know that, right? So it was through that I said, you know what? I got to find a way to make some extra income. I get this random phone call from a girl from school. She says, I just got started in a financial company.
Got it.
Right. I meet with her, help her out with a couple trainings. I say, can I do what you do? She says, sure. I get my license. Fast forward a year, I end up making as much part-time as I was making full-time.
Wow.
Quit my job, went full-time. Fast forward 5 years, now I'm one of the senior brokers. So
yeah, congratulations.
So I kind of made it long, but that's how I ended up here.
We missed the part where you met your wife. Where did you meet your wife?
Oh, okay. So that random girl that called me 2 years later, that's the girl that I married.
Really?
Yeah. So God gave me the business and the girl and the baby all the same.
Man, it's crazy, man. We just got to be a little patient sometimes.
I know. And answer the calls with that. You haven't answered in a while, because if it wasn't for that.
Unless it says potential scam on it.
Unless, I know, we just had the call, potential scam. I'm like, I know that person too. Don't answer those.
That's awesome, man. How was that transition though, man? Because a lot of us growing up, like you said, we're scared. Say, hey, we got to get our degree. We got to. We got to find that great 9 to 5 with great benefits and all this good stuff, right? And that's the safe way, right? That's what we were taught. So what was that transition like from working as a social worker to be going into business? Because if you don't sell anything, if you don't help families out, you don't eat.
You don't eat, yeah.
Right? So what was that transition like?
You know what? It was slow. Because my philosophy was this, or my approach was this: I'm gonna make sure I know what I'm doing in business and I'm making money before I leave the job. One of the things I like about our model is that we encourage people to do part-time.
Yeah,
I call it the hybrid entrepreneur, where you have your full-time job, you keep it as paying the bills. But this is what I always say: instead of going home and watching Netflix, now it's Disney Plus or whatever they got.
Yeah, right.
Instead of going home and watching TV, build a business on the side.
Yeah.
See what you could do on evenings and weekends.
And it could be anything, right?
Anything.
Yeah, you can do cake. Some people do the woodwork. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, a lot of people are afraid, or not afraid. A lot of people are lazy. The truth. Yeah. It's like, hey, I don't got time. I've heard people, and I know people, and I'm not better than these people. I'm not, but I know they work 4 days a week only.
Yeah.
They work 4 10s.
Yeah.
4 10s, and then they have 3 days off. It's like, okay, what are you doing those 3 days off? You hate your jobs. If you love your job and you love what you're doing, you're comfortable and you're good, great.
Yeah.
But if you're complaining, what are you doing with those rest of those days? You
know what? On that, it reminds me of this. So one of the things, again, I learned from our CEO Patrick is the question was asked: define happiness. How does somebody become happy? And I loved his definition. Is happiness is simply alignment. That your actions are in line with what you say you want. Because if you want this, but your actions are here, you're going to be unhappy.
Miserable.
If you want this and your actions are here, you're going to be very happy.
Yep.
So it's not. So for me, jobs are not bad.
That's
right.
Really good, man.
Benefits are not bad. It is, as long as you're in line with the life that you want, you're happy, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought I was happy until I couldn't buy the house. Then I realized I'd rather find a way to increase my income to get me that house instead of decreasing my goal to meet my income.
Yep, that's really good, man. Yeah, because we could get stuck in that. Like, hey, let me lower the goal because it's not happening, right?
Right, and I think that's the natural default.
Yeah, that's good, man, because I know it's definitely not easy. But it could be, it's possible, man.
100%.
I don't know why. I don't, honestly, and I struggle with this, but maybe we can give the audience a quick tip, right? Yeah. What's maybe, or a couple of tips, who knows? What is the best thing to do when you're making that transition?
Have a mentor.
Okay.
Have a mentor, because you could save time, you could save mistakes, therefore you're saving money and energy, right?
Yeah, good.
So if you have a mentor, preferably in the same industry, just because they'll speak the same language.
Perfect.
Otherwise, I'm in financial services, but let's say I didn't have a mentor in financial services. I come to you and I say, hey, Robert, just teach me the basics of business. You'll be able to give me so much information because it's similar skill sets, just a different product.
Yeah.
So I would say have a mentor.
Have a mentor. Mm-hmm. That's number one.
Number two is sacrifice.
That's really good, man. Sacrifice is huge.
Because there's no way. We all only have 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
So either, let's say you're working 8 hours, you're doing something part-time, you're either going to sacrifice sleep, probably, or you're also going to sacrifice time away from family. You're also going to sacrifice certain things. So
health and all.
Yeah, and you shouldn't sacrifice health, because health is what will get you to enjoy the benefits of all your labor.
Yep.
So health should be a priority, faith should be a priority, your marriage should be a priority, your kids should be a priority, right? But even with that, like, I'll kind of tell you right now, I'm in the building phase of my career.
Good.
So right now I see my son from 5:30 a.m. because he's my alarm, from 5:30 a.m.
That's what I'm talking about.
to 8 a.m. So I see him 3 hours in the morning.
Got it.
And then by the time I get home, he's already asleep. Some people could say, David, you're a father now. David, you're sacrificing time with your son. I'm like, no, I'm sacrificing time for my son.
Good.
Right.
That's all perspective right there.
100%.
Yeah, perspective's huge, man. Because a lot of people will be like, well, you don't have any time with your family. It's like, no, I'm gonna create time.
Create time.
Yeah, I'm gonna create this time, and we're gonna, I'm gonna work hard, and then we're gonna take a nice vacation when I have to think about anything. And that's what I think about when I'm working Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes, doing open houses, showing homes. It's like, okay, well, how can I work really hard now? Yeah. And then so when my son is here, right?
Yep.
So when my son is here, I can take, a month off without having, I'm going to be working from home here and there, but I don't have to be in front of people all the time because I've already done so much work that I don't have to do all the prospecting at that moment because I know I'm going to take the time off. That's really good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that, brother. Now going into a little bit of again, we're not here to sell anybody on anything. We just want to inform people. We want to bring value to people. So, talking about Kobe and talking about life and death a little bit, how can you help people be prepared for something like that? That's something that kind of just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I think, the one word answer is insurance, and it has like this negative connotation, right?
It sounds easy though.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like, hey, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's just not too common because, and here's the crazy thing. You're about to have your kid. I asked you before it's public, so I could talk about it.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't want to be the first one to say it. I'm like, what's going on, right?
Thanks, David.
Surprise, right? So, but you're about to have your kid, right? So the craziest thing is, by law, let's put kids aside. By law, if you drive a car, you have to have car insurance.
Yep.
By law, you have to have health insurance. Most of us have phone insurance, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the law requires when you have a kid?
I don't.
The only requirement is that you have a car seat.
That's crazy.
And it's like, okay, if the law requires health insurance, car insurance, right? We have phone insurance. We have insurance for our Macs, everything, right?
Yeah.
For this setup. I don't know if you have insurance, right? But, the law requires us to have insurance on certain things, but the only requirement is for us to have a car seat, which makes sense. But why not insurance for our family, right? A life insurance for our family. So how does somebody get prepared for that? Is simply getting insurance. I've helped young moms, 21, get $100,000 for like $11. And her response to me was, David, that's less than Netflix. I'm like, I know. That's
crazy, man. Like, people spend like $30 at Starbucks a week, bro.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. And the whole thing is asking the right questions, right? Yep. So coming to somebody that's a professional and asking the right questions. Hey, what does that look like? What is, what do I have to do? And then they find out it's $11 a month, whatever the case is. Like, it's crazy, bro. But people are afraid to ask the right questions, and they're more worried about just living, maybe in that moment, not preparing.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And you know what I also think it is, not to go too long on the topic, but I also think even there's one step before that. It's not necessarily that we don't know the right questions, is that we don't even think about what questions we should ask because it's not on our mind. The only reason I know about life insurance, retirement, all that is because I work here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think growing up in a Latino household, we didn't talk about this stuff.
No, absolutely not. We didn't
talk about savings.
Absolutely not.
We talked about benefits, health insurance, right? We talked about 401k, we know how to spell it, but we don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
so it's like I think when we gotta look, okay, I want the life of that person, right? An uncle that's doing well, or somebody at church, or I don't know, movie star, or Kobe, whatever, right? We got to look at, okay, what are their habits in their health? What are their habits in their faith? And what we're talking about right now is what are their habits in their finances?
Yep.
And you'll see that one of the foundations is not only savings, but before that, it's the insurance in case they don't make it to have enough savings.
Yep.
So I think, again, going back to having a mentor, right, asking those questions and all that. So I'm heavily on the side of the insurance, getting the foundation in place. Then from there we build on top of that.
Yeah, that's really good, man. Because I've seen you know, and it breaks my heart to even say this, man. But when I see a GoFundMe page, you know, I'm like, you know, I know this kind of maybe happens suddenly, but as people, we should be prepared. And right now, I'm actually talking to myself because I asked you about life insurance. We
already started the conversation, yeah.
But I'm already asking the right questions, right? And I'm trying to learn a little bit more. I'm asking different people, and I'm like, okay, hey, what is going to be best for me and my family, right?
Yeah.
But I see these GoFundMe pages, man, and it drives me crazy. It's either one, have enough money in your bank account to cover expenses,
yes.
But then what happens after that, right? You know, you after the funeral, your wife and now my son is gonna have to live on, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, hey, let's start preparing ourselves. Let's start asking the right people the right questions, man. So thank you for sharing that, man. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to David. He's been doing this a while. Because I know I have a buddy. He does you know, insurance and everything that you do. What would your title be at? Let me ask you this.
I'm in our company as a senior marketing director. In other companies, it's executive marketing director. It depends on who you're asking.
Got it. So is it kind of like a financial advisor type of?
Yeah. So we're more on the marketing side. So if we're going to get technical, a financial advisor, you have to have a specific license to call yourself that. Our brand, we're more brokers.
Gotcha.
So I don't sell anything from my company. We have contracts with a variety of companies, which gives an advantage because you could shop around.
Definitely.
And I always say this: the biggest thing I'm going to help somebody do is either they have one or two choices. Either they're going to leave a bill to the family, or they're going to leave a will. Right? I want to help them leave a will, leave some money, leave some inheritance, right?
Definitely.
So hopefully they don't leave a bill.
That's good, man. Yeah, because you never know. I mean, just like Kobe, we never know when it's our time.
Yeah.
Our time could come tomorrow. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be prepared. I know one of my buddies, he does life insurance as well, and he said it became real for him, and he knew how important his job was when he had to go deliver his first check to a 20-something year old, you know, a family. You know, they had a son, 20-something years old. You know, they had a check for a certain amount because, you know, he had got life insurance. And it was something simple, right? Unfortunately, the guy passed away. He was able to come and help. I mean, he helped the family, right?
Yeah.
Like all the expenses covered, right? They have some money left over to be able to do what they have to do. So
that's stuff is real. It works.
Yeah, that's really good, man. Now I just have a couple of questions for you, man. And thank you for sharing that. What do you believe your purpose is right now in the moment?
You know what? I'll answer it in one answer, then one word, then I'll kind of give the detail. But example.
Great.
So I think my purpose, and I've wrestled with this so much. So if I take all these personality tests, all these different things, and I always am like come back into the category where I'm like very analytical, right? So I spend so much time arguing with myself in my head. That's just the type of person I am. So I've thought about this a ton, and I've wrestled with God about it. What is my purpose? Is my purpose being a financial marketer, right? Is my purpose being a father? Is my purpose being a husband? Is my purpose?
And those are all great questions.
I think we got to ask more.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the Lord's answer to me was yes, 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 and yes.
Yep, that's so crazy.
Right? And this is here's why I changed my Instagram recently to First Entrepreneur, because I'm a first generation entrepreneur.
Same.
And I've never had an example up, and no fault of anybody else. I'm just happen to be the one to do it.
Which is great.
And I think it's very rewarding, but it's the most difficult.
Yep.
Because you're the first to have to figure out if you should start a business.
Yep.
what business to start, how to start a business, how to sacrifice time away from wife and kids, how to decide which parties you go to, because there's always parties with Latino families, which parties you don't go to, right?
Scheduling, all that
Scheduling.
Good. That's most important outlet right there, man. Jeez.
Yeah, so I think my purpose is to be an example in every area, which goes back to what we were saying earlier, the MVP in every area. And I'm just constantly hearing this over and over and over. Like, I want to be an example of what it's like to be a father in a non-divided household. Much respect to my dad. I know maybe he'll hear this. He doesn't know how to use the internet, but he might hear this somehow through one of my cousins, right? But much respect there. But my mom was phenomenal. Like, she did her part. She played the role of two many times.
Great.
So I want to be able to be an example of a father, be an example of a husband, be an example of a Christian. And a lot of times people have to choose, okay, I'm going to be a great father, but that because of that, I'm not going to be a great businessman. No. Or I'm going to be a great businessman, but because of that, I'm going to be a bad husband. And I by no means haven't figured it out. I'm a little further ahead than where I was. But I want to be the example when I'm 50 to a young 20-year-old version of me, and he could see somebody that says, hey, he did, so therefore I know it's possible.
Good.
Right? And when you look at Kobe, we keep going back to it, but it's on our mind. I saw, who was it? Dwayne Wade posted a video saying he would not be who he is today if it wasn't for Kobe. Meaning, because of Kobe, he saw it was possible. He was chasing him. He put in more work ethic, because everybody's heard of Kobe's work ethic, right?
Yep.
So I believe my purpose is to be an example, and that's what I'm fighting for every day. I'm not there, but I'm fighting.
That's good, man. And it doesn't have to be perfect, And I think that's what the biggest thing is. This podcast is called Process to Purpose.
Yep.
And I don't even know if we'll ever reach our purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing, because we know. Is it Matthew McConaughey, where he says, I'm reaching to be that person in 10 years. In 10 years, I reached that person, but I'm reaching to be that next person in 10 years. It's like, I don't believe we're ever going to be there, but there's a process that we go to, and again, we're going through that process right now, man. And I think you are a great example. I from Instagram, I see that you're doing a great job with your family and your son. And I told you about the video that you had with your son, man. Absolutely loved it, man. And so I believe that you're a great leader, man, and I know you're mentoring people and you're changing people's lives, man. So I just, I just pray that you just continue to do that, man, and keep continue to give people courage and strength, and just allow people to follow their purpose, right, and be an example of, of the person that God has called you to be. So you got a lot of good stuff, man. Thank you again for sharing these things. I have a couple of rapid questions I want to ask you.
Go for it.
If you can go back to an age, right? So specific age, and you give yourself one tip. But you can't change anything that's happened, right, to this point in life. But you can give yourself one tip. What age would it be, and what tip would it be? I didn't prepare you for these, man.
Let me see. So if I could go back at any age, what tip would I give myself? 12 years old, parents got divorced. I would tell myself it's going to be okay. That's
really good, man.
Right? Because in the moment, you don't know, right? Earlier we were talking about people, again, my brother-in-law passing away. We don't understand. Instead of asking why, you ask what.
Yeah.
Right. I have it inside my wedding ring. It's the Bible verse where it says, "Trust in the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Lean not on your own understanding.
Yep.
In all your ways submit to Him, and He'll set your path straight."
Yep.
So my advice would be to me is, you don't understand, you just have to trust.
That's really good, man. That's really good. Because I shared, at similar age, I would go back to about maybe 12 years old, and I would say that you are loved, And I've said it countless times, because I just want to keep repeating it, man. Like, if there's anybody out there that they can go back and tell themselves, hey, you are loved. Yeah. So similar. Hey, you're gonna be. Everything's gonna be okay. Yeah. Just have trust. That's good, man. One of your greatest weaknesses at the moment.
Discipline, man. Like, again, I'm hard on myself. So if I'm comparing myself to who I was 4 years ago, I'm way ahead. But if I'm comparing myself to who I want to be, I'm way behind.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So discipline. There's always those little breaks in the day where you spend 15 minutes having a conversation that didn't need to be had. It was a waste of conversation. You also got to build relationships and all that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But that Instagram thread that went a little bit too long, right?
I do that from time to time.
I think we all do, bro. That's what I'm saying, because I got
right?
to improve. So I would say discipline, because I know freedom comes through discipline.
That's really good, man. And I know a lot of people, they think I'm really, really disciplined because, you know, they see me waking up every morning at 3:35 and this and that. But same with me, man. I just want to master discipline. And I know you can master discipline with a couple of things, right? Is scheduling, creating great habits. But I think most importantly is scheduling. It's like, hey, if my schedule wasn't filled right now with this interview with you, what would I be doing? Right? It better be prospecting, better be making phone calls, client care, maybe having lunch with somebody, breakfast, whatever the case is. Like
hiring somebody to do stuff you shouldn't be doing. I was vacuuming my car yesterday. I was like, man, this is like a $10 job. I got it.
Man, that drives me crazy. So, and you know what's crazy about that? Just because you brought it up, and I don't know who's gonna listen to this, so I hope whatever. But I made a comment, right? I was at my in-laws, and they're all setting up, and every time there's a party, everyone's always freaking out. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, we got to get everything ready. And I looked at him, and I was dead serious. And I looked at him and I said, bro, I cannot wait for the day where if it's my kid's birthday or my wife's birthday or whoever's, you know, celebration, where I can just say, hey, I'm gonna pay somebody to do all this stuff, do the whole setup, bring all the food, do all that stuff. I want to be wealthy enough where. And again, not rich, but wealthy, where I could do something like that. And he looked at me, he's like, well, I guess we don't have to really. We could do it ourselves. And I was like, I felt like that was like, no, man, I don't want to be wasting my time setting up tables. Man. I got like if I have a mission and it's been given by God, I want to be super efficient.
Do that mission,
to the mission, right? Not to vacuuming a car. Like that's crazy to me, right? You go and you wash and you're vacuuming. You're like, why am I doing this crap? Like, and it's not because we think we're too good, you know, but you're on a mission. You're mission driven, and you know you need to get something done, and that's not important. Right. So
one of the things I love about my wife is she naturally thinks that way. Before we got married, it's like, okay, how could I be more efficient for our wedding? I've never thought about, before getting married, I've never thought about what venue and everything like that, but she knew she wanted all-inclusive. A little more expensive, but the stress, the time and everything you say, we were running at that time for our broker promotion here in the company.
Got it.
So we got a venue, all-inclusive. She said, I want this. We signed. On my end, stress-free. On her end, less stress than planning every detail, which DJ, who to interview, photographer came with it. So like little things like that, if you could save yourself energy in certain things that allow you more time on your mission, your purpose, your business, all that, then so I'm in line with you on there.
Good, man. If you could take anything away from this podcast, like I know we said a lot of great stuff, but that one is so good. It's learning how to give it up sometimes.
Delegate, hire.
Yep. I know. Like yesterday, I was sending out Zillow reviews, right, to all my past clients, and I'm sending out Zillow reviews, and I was like, I hate this crap. I'd rather be doing this, right? I'd rather be in front of somebody. I'd rather be building the relationships. But there I was sending out Zillow reviews, and it takes me forever.
But here's the reality. You have to go through that until you're at the place where, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you and I, we're in the building phase.
Back to sacrifice, right?
Yep.
You got to sacrifice a little bit. We're doing things that we don't want to do, but we know they're important. So it's really good, man.
Yeah, man.
If you had one gift or ability, superpower, whatever it may be, right?
Good question.
What would it be?
Unlimited resources. I don't know if that's a gift or superpower, but unlimited resources.
What are the resources?
I mean, meaning financial. Because here's the conversation about money. I don't love money, but I love what money does. People say money's not important, but I say it's right up there with oxygen. You've heard that before, right?
I mean, it really is. I mean,
So if that was a superpower where you could create money, because here's what I know. With that, you can do so much. I remember as a social worker, one of the most difficult things for me as a social worker was I got into social work because I wanted to help people, what I found myself doing was just giving people a list of resources that we both already knew were full. They were going to be on a waiting list, and this is literally the best I could do.
Man.
But if I had more resources, I say, bro, I got you. I'm going to pay for an actual place that's not a free place, so you could actually get in today. One of my dreams, I worked at a summer camp in college.
Okay.
Never went to summer camp growing up.
Same here.
And they're cool, man. Even as I was like, I don't know, 20, I think it was 21. I was running around like crazy with the kids.
Yep.
But at the summer camp, I got to see breakthrough in the kids' lives. So I'm like, oh, this is powerful, right? Because you learn about Jesus, step away, all that. One of my dreams is to be able to fully fund a summer camp. They're like $1,500, $2,000, $2,500. They're at Lake Hume or different places for kids, preferably foster kids. Or here's a check. 10 of you guys just go, all on me, and make that like a tradition.
Great.
So my superpower would be resources, and then I'll go from there.
Well, let me tell you this, brother. If you could take anything away from this podcast, it's you already have that superpower, man, and you're creating it daily. Yeah. And I believe it. I really do believe that you have that already, and you are going to create it, and you're going to be doing all those things like you said. You know you're doing. Even if you start today, you start off with one person that and it's crazy because I can relate to the summer camp. The last couple of years, my wife and I have been doing that.
Awesome.
Sponsoring one or two kids. And this year, the prices are actually. I think this year they're a little bit lower. So we're like, okay, well we can sponsor maybe another kid. We can do 2. Yeah. We can do 3 this year. Little by little. Hey, you'll work your way up to those 10. But I truly believe, man, that you do have that superpower already.
I love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, for sure. And then favorite movie to watch, bro.
Cinderella, man, I love. Pursuit of Happiness, I love. What's the other one? Warrior, the movie Warrior. I don't know if you've seen the UFC movie. I love any underdog movie. Goliath. Not Goliath. Yeah, what's the movie called? Gladiator, not Goliath.
Yeah, Gladiator, yes.
Anything with an underdog where you're not supposed to win, but you win, I love those movies because I think that's going to be my story.
That's good, man. That's really good. That's me. I mean, even during these playoffs, I was going for Tennessee, bro. I was like, Tennessee, the Titans, I want you guys to win because they're the 6th seed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I wanted them to win just because I want to go for the underdog every single time. And I kind of believe I'm the same way, man. Yeah. I'm going to be the underdog story. When I started off in real estate, I had 4 escrows, and I was like, heck yeah, we got this going. And they all fell out.
It's crazy, huh?
4 escrows, and when you fall out, you don't get paid. You did all that work, and you don't get paid until they close. And so I went about 7 months, and I remember coming into the office the next day, and the guy who's mentoring me, he took me under his wing. He was like, "What? Like, you're still here with a good attitude, man." And I just looked at him and said, "Bro, this is gonna be one heck of a story one day." That's it. Yes. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you for being on. Any closing words you would like to say to the audience? Anything you want to leave them with?
Last thing I'll say is on what you were saying there. I think anybody who you consider successful went through a moment that you went through when all 4 escrows fell. That's the test. That's the test for success. Yep. I think most people stop there. So if look to camera, look to you. Okay. So if you're pursuing a goal, have a dream, have a vision, have a project, whatever it is, if it hasn't already happened, it's going to happen, or you're currently in it. You're in the test, and I think the test comes to really see what you're made of, right?
That's right.
But I think to give you the strength, because it's in the process of being in the gym that you walk out stronger, right? Yep. So I say push through the test. You already have the answer. You just gotta stop listening to the worry. Stop listening to the what if. Stop listening to the if it doesn't work out, I'll do this. Don't have a plan B, right? Don't have a plan B. Start thinking, how can I get out? Be solution oriented, and then you'll find a way out. Everybody makes it. You'll be good.
Yeah, stick through it. Amen, man. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, brother. Well, like I end every single episode, David, thank you for being on, brother.
Thank you.
And if nobody loves you, Jesus loves you. Have a good one, guys.
I love it.